Hey, Kelly. Hey, Denise. Just give me a couple minutes. We're getting set up. Glad to see everybody in already. Hang in there, everybody. We'll be live in a couple minutes. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. We're just waiting for everybody to get joined on here, and then we'll get started. I wish it was mine. Wish it was real. Hey, everybody on Facebook. Glad to see you're in here. So while we're waiting for the other hosts, if you have any business questions prior to the meeting starting, just type them in or let us know. That's tough, Kelly. Sorry to hear that. It's got to be tough for the owner too. 13 years and they've got to close the doors. Hey, Andrew.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good.
Just waiting on our friend Boris.
Okay.
I don't know if James is joining us tonight. Philip is on. Hey, Philip.
What is that?
I was looking at Philip's on Facebook, but I have Facebook Live running already. So.
Okay. There's Franco.
Yeah, Kelly was just saying her salon's closing down after 13 years. Not good. A lot of owners having trouble making it through this. plenty of places to work if you want to go work somewhere else or open your own place. Big opportunities going on right now.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are. And, you know, it's all right because this one, I mean, if a person's business was not well done, making profit, this made it just doubly difficult, no matter how much you wanted to do the right thing and to move your business forward. There's certain constraints that it just doesn't make sense. So for those folks who are closing down, it's not your fault, you know?
Tell you what I had several calls about today, Andrew, while we're waiting, is that, and this is a sad trend that I see going on already. There's a lot of people leaving their salons to go to booth rent so that they can collect unemployment and be in a booth rent salon, a suite rental at the same time, and then run under the radar. So they're double dipping. And you know what? I have no mercy for those people if somebody catches up to them.
Yeah. Kelly, we hope.
Yeah.
We hope. Really. But there will be plenty of salons open, and they will do, if they choose to run their businesses well and to be leaders, they will do well.
Andrew, what mic are you on? Are you on the?
On my is it bad?
You just got a lot of reverb.
Okay, let me get my real deal, and maybe it's the AC, but let me.
Now we have matching mics. See if our friend Boris came in the wrong spot. Let's see.
Is he in?
Nope, not yet.
By the way, my phone, T-Mobile, was out today.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That's weird.
When I called because I wanted to know what was going on, because I mean, it just cut out. You and I were having a conversation, it just cut out.
Yeah.
So I had a coaching call after that, and after that I went on and called T-Mobile, and no customer service. Just it wasn't T-Mobile. It was a bunch of towers that had issues. Thank you, Kelly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Facebook Messenger was down today too, so I don't know if it was some sort of internet or wireless hacking going on. Who knows? But I know people were freaking out that Messenger was down for a good portion of the day too.
Well, definitely, I had a very strange Messenger experience this weekend because I sent something out, and it wasn't obscene or anything like that. It just was a message, and somehow another message got attached to it saying that don't open this message from Andrew because he will, hack into your entire list. So my daughter-in-law calls me and she says, "What is this?" That's how I knew.
Kind of funny.
She said, "I'm afraid to open what you sent to me because I got this message." I said, "You can open it. It's okay." But that's what's going on, folks.
Where's our friend Boris, Andrew?
I don't know. I would. Let me see. Oh, come on, Boris.
Hang in there, folks. We're just waiting for our other guest.
The guest of honor.
Yes. So Phyllis said, has anyone noticed it's getting a little slow after a few weeks? Yes, Phyllis, most people get into that rut where they knock out most of their clients in the first 3 to 4 weeks and then have a slow period. Here he comes.
There he is.
You there, Boris? He's
Can't
muted.
hear you. Unmute yourself. There you go. You
Boris?
hear?
Yep.
Boris?
You guys got me?
There you are.
All right.
Perfect.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's all good.
What's
So
happening? How are you guys?
We're great. We're great. So what was that person saying? I didn't catch her name. Was it Kelly?
Oh, yeah, Kelly. No, it wasn't Kelly. It was one of the other members said that they are getting hit with that slow period after being slammed for a few weeks. And we talked about this in previous episodes that unless you're marketing to those slow periods, everybody's going to get them now because you're basically taking your whole clientele and putting it into the first 3 or 4 weeks. So spread them out, make sure your rebookings are good and market to those gaps. Okay. Alrighty. So what's going on, Boris? What's the good word?
The good word is retail.
Are we going to 10x our retail?
That's well, at least 50% exit. How about that?
Beautiful.
2x.
Yeah.
2x.
2x. We'll go for 2x. Yeah.
Go for 2x.
Yeah. So otherwise, you'll be lost in the desert of unprofitability. And I'm just going off of your background there. So
Gotta love Andrew's background.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah. So we're gonna get everything started. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right, Andrew. I see we are now live and recording.
Live.
Welcome. Yep. Welcome everybody to tonight's Beauty Business Reset, episode 51. Tonight we have the pleasure of having Boris Oak on with us, who's going to talk about how to take your retailing to the next level. With that, Boris, it's all yours, my friend.
Wow. Thank you, Derek. It's an honor to be here. And thank you, Andrew, as well. And thank you, everyone who is on tonight. And my hope tonight is I can give you some info that you can actually put to work right away and take action on. And so the information I'm about to share is for anyone who is interested in significantly growing your retail business and doing it right away. And I think we all know how important retail is to the profitability of any salon business. So I'm going to share some things with you that I've done in real life myself and that I know pretty much anyone can do. And I first shared my thoughts on this with both Derek and Andrew a couple of weeks ago. So apparently it resonated enough with them for them to have me on. So thank you guys. And I don't know if I'll be sharing anything that you haven't heard before, maybe just packaged a little bit differently. So I really believe in operating from tried and true principles that are proven over time as opposed to any gimmicks or get rich quick kind of things. And so this is all coming to you from real life experience. Just really quickly, Derek and Andrew, how much time do we have? I want to make sure I'm kind of sensitive to the window of time you're allotting or sliding in for me.
You're good. You can go on as long as you'd like. We generally
Okay.
for about an hour.
Okay.
That works. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. So just to give,
before you do,
Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you
yeah,
because Derek, we launched in immediately with Boris, and we didn't really give him a great introduction. This is
Sure.
right.
Go ahead, Ed.
I'll just assume no introduction.
You can introduce yourself.
Yeah.
And as to, you know, all the things that you've done and what you're currently doing, and tell your story a little bit, because it's an incredibly interesting story before you get into, you know, how you can help people double their retail.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good. So, so just some background on me. I'm a son of a hairdresser, and grew up basically in a salon. My mom opened up a hair salon when I was 12, and we ran it like a true family business. My dad and I were there pretty much every night cleaning. This was before we could afford a janitorial service. We did the build out and all sorts of build outs ourselves. And so I started receptioning at about 14, as soon as it was legal for me to work. And so I really, I think I kind of bleed our industry in a way, for better or for worse. And but it was really a real privilege to grow up in a family business. It really taught you how to work. And so fast forward 20 years later, and what started off as a little 5-chair salon doing $6 haircuts grew into a salon with 40 hairdressers, a full spa with about 5 estheticians. It was about a 60-person really company at this point. And my mom needed some help. And by this time I went off and had a separate career in technology sales and marketing, because I live here in San Francisco in the Bay Area and Silicon Valley. So I kind of did what most people do out here and jumped into the tech space, but still always very connected to my mom's salon business. So anyway, the business grew. She needed help. And this was in around 2002. So if you guys remember, this is back at the time of the first .com crash. So tech was starting to be a little bit not as exciting. And then I always had a love for our salon business. So to make a long story short, she convinced me to take a week off work, and I went to New York with her to attend a week-long seminar at a company called Bumble and Bumble that I'm sure all of you guys are very familiar with. And I went there and pretty much drank the Kool-Aid. I just believed everything they shared. They presented the industry in a way that I hadn't seen up to that point. I had gone to a lot of sort of typical hair shows and distributor shows with my mom over the years. But what I saw in New York was really, really different. And it got me really excited, to be honest. I kind of went through it and really left there having made a decision that I was going to come back to Fremont, California, where our salon was. And I was going to become the greatest salon entrepreneur of all time. That was basically what I set out to do. And at this workshop at Bumble, they kind of gave you this big fat manual with what they called their best practices, both from their salon and from the 500 salons that they claimed to have carefully studied. And so I believed everything they said. And I went back and I pretty much implemented the whole shebang. And within about 36 months, we became one of their largest retailers in California, probably in the country, for a non-chain operation. And we were doing so well that members of the founding team were calling me and asking me what the heck I was doing. And I just told them, well, I'm just doing what you taught me to do. And so so basically that program at that time, and I'm sure some of you may have been a part of the Bumble network, or maybe you still are, but they really did an amazing job back in the 2000s of really educating the salon owner on the power and value of retailing, and I was certainly a beneficiary of that. And so the core of what they taught at the time was really the power of doing one-on-ones with your stylist, and so that was really at the heart of what drove our success. But what I found over time is that, one, when you have a relatively big staff, doing a one-on-one every single week with every single stylist became very time consuming. And then also after maybe a few months of this, the one-on-ones started to feel a little redundant. And so I started thinking about, or looking at that and thinking, you know, there's got to be a better way to do this, because it does work, but what can I do to take it to the next level? So I figured out that if instead of doing a one-on-one, if I would just give everybody daily feedback on their performance around the things that we talked about in our weekly one-on-one, I could actually have a daily one-on-one with our staff. And that's really what I started doing. I would come in the morning and print out the daily reports for the day before for each stylist. And I basically tracked two primary numbers, which later expanded to three, and I call them the 3 R's, but I'll focus on the first two, which to me were the most important. And the first R that was the most important was rebooking. And we all know how critical that is. So basically what I would do is, on that little piece of paper, if somebody saw 7 clients yesterday, I would write, you know, if they saw 7 and rebooked 7, I would put 7 out of 7, little star happy face. And maybe if they only rebooked 2, I'd put 2 over 7 and little question mark. And so the goal I set, and I'm a big believer in achievable high performance goals. So goals that make you stretch but are actually doable. And what I found is that I found most of our stylists could rebook at about 75 to 80% of their clients if they really focus. You're never going to rebook 100. That's not realistic, but you can do about 3 out of 4. So we set 75% as our kind of salon benchmark. And then the other number I began to look at is the number of products sold per client. And this is a formula that I learned at Bumble, because they were really promoting the units per client or pieces per client. So some call it UPC, some call it PPC, but it's the same thing. And so at Bumble, at the time, they were teaching 2 units per client, which sounded amazing, but I found that to be very difficult to achieve. But I did find that you could do 1. So one per client became our standard at our salon as far as what we really focused on. And I still to this day believe it's a very achievable goal. It does take work, but you can do it. And so on that little piece of paper, I would write down the rebooking number, and then I would also write, so again, back to that example, if they saw 7 clients, then I would have expected them to sell 7 units of product. So if they hit 7 out of 7, it would be another big star and happy face. And if it was something much lower than that, it'd be like a little question mark. And so, and that's really how I ran the business for several years. And what I found is daily feedback is just an incredible thing that affects our performance or behavior in anything that we do. If you think about it, that's how the Fitbit works. So imagine if the Fitbit was a weekly tracker. Like, how effective do you think that would be? It wouldn't be, right? Because basically, come Friday, if it was a weekly thing and you're 10 million steps behind your goal, you would just throw your hands up and say, there's no way. But if it's a daily tracker, then you come home and you look at your Fitbit and you're a few hundred steps away, you're just going to go and walk around the block a few times and you're there. So there's tremendous power in daily tracking. And I think the biggest, or not, maybe not the biggest, but one of the mistakes many salon owners make is they focus on weekly or monthly tracking. So we all kind of, are often taught, put the weekly or monthly data up in the break room, let everybody look at it. And I find when you post weekly and especially monthly numbers, It's better than not posting anything. So don't get me wrong. If you're doing that, I'm not telling you to stop, but what happens is those weekly or monthly numbers become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because people look at those and they say, oh, see, I'm always at the bottom because I suck at retail. And Susie's always number one because she's just a natural, and people just buy into those things. Whereas if you give people daily feedback, something completely different happens. And I don't want to say that the person who's terrible at retail is suddenly going to become a superstar, but they're going to be half as bad as they used to be, which means your retail is going to double. So it's really kind of amazing. Moving on to the next thing I want to share, in addition to the measuring your retail on a daily basis, is, if you really want to get motivated and to understand why all of this is so important, I really believe in calculating your salon's full retail potential. And there's a really simple way to do that. If you just take the amount of clients you see per week or per month or per day, and then multiply it by 1, which is that 1 unit per client goal that I shared with you. So as many clients as walk through your doors, that's how many bottles of product should be leaving your salon, or at least that's what's possible. And so if you see, let's say 50 clients a day, and your average retail product is $25, that means you should be selling at least 50 times 25, or that would be $1,500 in retail. How many people would get excited to have $1,500 of retail if you have a 50 person a day, 50 client a day, or 50 guest a day business? It'd be pretty cool, right? It's totally doable. And even if you did half of that, you'd probably be happy. But we want to aim for the 1. So what I would advise anyone who's on tonight is do an inventory of how many clients come through your doors, and then multiply that by the average retail price of your products, and you'll see what you're missing out on by not focusing correctly on your retail business. Any questions so far? Or maybe Derek or Andrew, anything you want to? I don't want this to be just me giving a speech, if you will, and so would love to make it interactive. But am I making sense so far? And
you're making a lot of sense. Hey, folks listening, if you have questions during, post your questions up so we can promote them up to ask Boris. But yeah, it makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've talked about this theory for a long time. I'm not a big believer in the retail percentage. I believe in pieces per client. I know Andrew does also. If you can start thinking in simpler terms of pieces per client, it just makes things a lot easier, a lot simpler, and it makes your goals a lot simpler, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just the way my mind works.
I want to give a shout out to Lyra, who shared with us that every client bought 2 products today.
awesome. See?
Brilliant.
Yeah, no, and 2 is possible, by the way. Yeah, I reduced my goal to 1 just to make it super achievable for everybody. But yeah, you can definitely do 2. And I think the most important thing with retail, and you've heard this a million times before, is to understand that, like, your client really does want you to talk to them about it. Like, I can show you surveys that we've done where people raved about their salon experience, and then but complained and that their stylist did not talk to them about product. That's how much people want you to consult with them. So I think that's just really important. But the thing is, there's this phrase, or I love little mantras. So one of my favorite mantras is, what gets measured gets done. And I hope everyone watching is taking notes, because what I'm sharing, I guarantee you, I'm not saying this because of my big ego or how smart I am, but I'm telling you, I'm sharing things with you that will absolutely make you a ton of money. This is like the real deal kind of stuff. And always start with this, what gets measured with gets done principle, because if you apply it, it's just going to serve you so well. So if you start measuring your retail, like Derek is suggesting, on a per client basis, or units per client, or pieces of product per client on a daily basis, and you start sharing that with your staff, it's super powerful. The other thing that's really, really important, once you start, analyzing your salon's full potential is step one. Figuring out a way to deliver this daily feedback to your staff is step two. And then the third step is you have to teach something that I call the magic move, which you've probably heard of this before as well. But the magic move is you have to take the retail product off the shelf and put it on the desk at checkout. If you don't do that, you don't stand a chance. And also it's kind of rude, because if you think about it, like, do you really expect your client to go find that one product you're recommending for them in a sea of products on your shelves? It's just not really, it's not even nice. But yeah, you got to pull the product off the shelf. I've ran a retail contest for stylists where they can get entered into a drawing just because every time they pull a product and put it on the front desk, they're entered. So another thing I really believe in is I don't really care about outcomes. I just care about the process. And if you just trust the process, you'll always get results. I've never seen anyone who does the stuff I'm talking about not get results. If you're a stylist watching this, if you start pulling product off the shelf after every single appointment, meaning you should be recommending something to every client. It doesn't mean every single client is going to buy something, but you should create that opportunity. You will be amazed by what happens. So that's kind of the main thrust of what I wanted to share. And what I'll mention too, and I share this just for context, our salon, so I've since retired from salon ownership and management, and I actually started my own product brand quite a while ago now, called Evolved. It's spelled EVOLVH. So I'm on the product side of this equation now, but I love teaching this to salons because I just know it works. What's really cool now is I hope all of you have heard of Salon Interactive by now. Have you guys been talking about Salon Interactive?
We had Jim Bauer on.
Oh, good. Yeah,
And yeah, continue, and then I want to.
Oh no, Jim is a dear friend of mine, and what he's building is what I've always dreamed that somebody would build, or what he's created. I shouldn't say building; he's built it. And so now, every salon and every hairdresser has an opportunity to retail online, and so you can take exactly what I'm talking about and incorporate it into the digital world. So maybe maybe with Salon Interactive, 2 units a client might actually become the new standard, actually. But basically, so now you have a new second magic move. So if you didn't retail to the client while they were there, or maybe even if you did, but let's just assume you didn't, then what you want to do is at the end of your day, you want to text or email your client exactly what you're recommending for their hair and include the links in Salon Interactive for the products that you're recommending. And you're going to be shocked by how many people are going to take you up on your recommendations and purchase online. So now we can basically do what I'm talking about in the physical world. Now, thanks to Salon Interactive, we can do it in the digital world. And I know Jim is signing up all of the best possible brands you can imagine onto the platform. So it's really, really, I mean, it's really exciting. It's never been a better time to be focused on retail in our industry than right now. And I also want to speak to one other thing that comes up a lot. People love to say, oh, I'd retail more, but my client is going to purchase it online or on Amazon. And I'll just tell you from my own experience, the thing that your clients value most is the most precious resource of them all. And guess what that is? Time, right? So they would much rather just buy what you're recommending right there on the spot than save a buck by taking time to try to find it online. So outside of Salon Interactive and your own proactive digital selling, I promise you, if you're recommending product to clients and taking it off the shelf, putting it on the front desk, they will always purchase. And if they're saying they're buying it online or they're going to go look on Amazon, don't worry about it. They're just telling you that's actually just a convenient excuse. It just means they're not kind of willing to write the check, or they just don't feel like spending the money right that moment. But that's not the real reason why they're not purchasing it from you. Yeah, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with sharing. I did this in our business. I would tell our clients that, hey, we want you to buy from us because you purchasing retail supports this amazing salon experience that you love. Because the truth is, I mean, everybody who's a salon owner knows that if you don't have a healthy retail business, you really can't stand a chance. You don't stand a chance as a salon owner unless you want to just subsidize your business from your work behind the chair. So if you're not retailing, that means you're just covering bills with what you're doing behind the chair. And that's not really a recipe for long-term success, right, folks? So if you want to be successful, you got to do the units per client. So let me just take a quick little segue to the analysis of your current business. So most people watching this today, if you do the math and you look at how many bottles are leaving your salon versus how many clients you see, you're probably averaging somewhere around 0.2, maybe 0.25 units per client. Derek is smiling because he knows this is, well, I mean, Derek has all the numbers, so he is the great oracle of truth here, the great arbiter. And by the way, I didn't even, Derek, did I ask you what these numbers were in advance?
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's just, that's how you know I'm the real deal. Like, yeah, but no, this is a real, because I've had this conversation. I've looked at the numbers of so many salons, so I know that's the case for just about everybody watching here. So the thing is, if you're at 0.25, and I'm talking about going to 1 unit per client, so that would be a 4x, that's 4 times increase. So if you just go to 0.5, you will have doubled your retail. And if you're at 0.25 per client, well, guess what that means? It means your stylists are at 0.25 per client. Or if you're a stylist watching this, you're at 0.25 per client. So I want to give you the Boris challenge. And the challenge, I'm going to give you 2 things to do. I didn't clear this with Derek or Andrew, so I hope I don't get fired for this. But, and I'm sort of making this up on the fly. But the challenge is, I would like you to, track your retail on a daily basis, on a per client basis for your business and yourself behind the chair for let's say for 10 straight business days. But you have to do it daily. And then I want you to compare how you did versus what your units per client average was going into this 10-day challenge. And I promise you, at the end of 10 days, you'll be selling at double what you were selling before. So I've never seen a stylist not go to 0.5. I'm not joking. If you start, it's almost impossible. So, and that's how I'm giving you something super simple yet profoundly revolutionary. I'm loving Andrew's background because I feel like most salon owners have been wandering in the desert of retail for like 40 years. And I'm giving you the path to get over into the promised land. And it's called daily tracking. And that is just, and it's super binary. If you do it, you win. If you don't, you don't. So it's just, I'm just being really honest with everyone watching here. So, so whoever does it for 10 days straight, send me an email and I will reward you with something. I don't know what yet, but if it's 100 people, there'll be 100 gifts coming your way from yours truly. But that's how much I believe in this, because it'll change your life. It really will. But you got to do it daily, but it's super easy. So maybe Derek and Andrew will share my email in the chat or
Absolutely. Can I?
Yeah.
I'd like to ask. So many owners meet the challenge of my stylists don't want to sell. You know,
Yeah.
how do my stylists use an excuse, I can't sell. How do you deal with that? Or don't you deal with it and you just get on and sell, and those who want to do, and those who can't in their heads won't? What do you, any tips around that?
Yeah. First of all, this is, so I'm going to sound like I'm going to say something very counterintuitive, but I don't hold any resentment or I don't have any negative thoughts towards anyone who says they don't want to sell. Because honestly, like, I don't know anyone who really does want to sell. So I think that's a very fair, valid thing to say. So I think the real secret to becoming effective at retailing is to really forget about selling and really focus on really two things. One is something we've all heard before, which is educating. But the real thing, and this is back to me being super honest with people, is if you want to retail better, you just have to care more. Like, do you really give a crap about your client? Because if you're not educating them on how to care for their hair at home, then what you're basically saying is the only thing I care about is the $200 you're about to spend with me right here in this visit. And for the next 6 weeks, I couldn't care less what you do. Because the thing is, your clients are hairdressers too. Because unless you're coming to their home every single day, guess who's doing their hair? So shouldn't we care about how well our clients can care for their hair all the days that they're not in our chair? So you have to be that brutally honest with yourself and with your staff. So that 0.25 number, that's your care metric. Like, do you really give a crap about your clients? Because that's really it. The only reason to sell them product is because you really give a shit. Pardon my French. I get really passionate about this. I got excited about products, not because of the money, but I realized, holy crap, like the clients can't function without it. You can't, have you ever seen a hairdresser work with no product? Like if you can't function without it, how can they function without it? And why aren't you the one training them? So I always suggest that, hey, work with your client like you're training a new assistant. So ask them, hey, show me how you hold a brush. Show me how you hold a blow dryer. Do you know what that stupid little nozzle is for? Like that kind of, yeah. Thank you, Laura. Laura gives a shit a lot, and I love Laura for saying that. So really, it's just about caring more, and then how you show your care is by educating, because I can't control what my client does, right? So basically, your job is just to train them, is to say, hey, here's what I need you to do if you really want to have the best possible result, and just go from there. I don't mean to be so like extra impassioned about it, but I just am. So basically, here's the deal. You're all, from a salon owner point of view, the 80-20 rule is going to still apply. So 80% of your retail sales are probably going to come from 20% of your staff, that for whom it's just more natural. And the truth is, for some people it's more natural, for some people it's less natural. I think one of the biggest things is whatever your first 2 years as a hairdresser were is probably how you're going to be for the rest of your career. I hate to say this, it's just a reality. So that first 2 years of training is where so if you were lucky enough to apprentice or assist or train at a salon that put a big emphasis on chair education and really educating the client, then that person is going to be doing that for the rest of their career. And if you worked at a salon that didn't put any emphasis on it, you're going to be a much weaker chair educator / retailer for the rest of your career. But that's okay, because the thing is that if you give me a hairdresser who never sells anything, and you start giving them daily feedback on products per client, suddenly they're going to magically retail twice as much as what they were doing before. And the person who's really good is just going to be that much better. So the truth is, everyone can get better. I'll never be like a professional tennis player. or a pro golfer, but I can get better. And so we all can get better. And so, but you can't get better if you don't measure, right? So how do you know you're getting, if you're a weekend golfer, like, and if you stop track, if you don't track your performance, you're not going to know whether you got better or not. And you know, if you want to read more books, if you start writing down how many pages you read every single day, I promise you'll start reading more. You know, the other interesting thing that I found is everyone thinks they're doing way more than they are. So when I talk to stylists and I'll say, oh yeah, how's your rebooking? Oh yeah, I rebook. Of course I rebook. And then if they start tracking their rebooking, you'll be like, it's eye-opening. So, you know, if I walk into a salon and I see stylists that aren't busy, it just means you haven't been rebooking. So, so if you're not busy today, just flip your book to 6-8 weeks ago, look at all those clients that were there, and now ask yourself, well, where are they now? It's kind of like that high school thing, like, meet Joe, where is he now? Tracking is going to be your best friend, and it'll make you better. But yeah, Andrew, sorry for the long-winded answer. But yeah, if someone says they're not a salesperson, I totally agree with them.
Hey, Boris, I have a quick one for everybody
Yeah.
on here. Taking what you said, you basically did all three things in separate areas. Okay, the first one was, if you have somebody that can sell, fine, educate your clients, right? The ones that are afraid to sell, the easy way to get them into it is your magic move, right?
Yep.
Because they really don't have to educate. So there's different levels. You could take it from a 0.25 to a 0.5, a 0.75 just by using the magic move. Then
Yep.
maybe you add in some education. Now you're taking it to 1 to 2 pieces per client maybe. But guys, think about this. If you're educating the client, you're telling them something about how to take care of what they just had done. Okay. The second move, which I always found very effective, is similar to your magic move, was put the products in the client's hand when you're styling. Because I know my wife, if she doesn't touch it and smell it, she won't buy it. And I'm telling you, if you watch the way people react when they go into, whether it's your salon or they go into Ulta or somewhere else, they look at the bottle, they smell what's in it, right? And they decide on those factors. So if you're putting that product in that client's hand, and then at the end of the service, you're using that magic move and putting them on the desk, you're probably going to get way more sales than you've ever gotten.
Yep. And, you know, and also what I found too is retail builds loyalty, because every time that client sees that product that you recommended on their vanity and they go, oh man, Derek changed my life with this product. I can't even imagine life before it. And so they're always going to make that connection with you every time they look at that product. I mean, I've done a lot of data digging into this stuff. You know, the clients that buy retail, they're more loyal. There are stylists that can build a clientele without retailing well based on the strength of their personality. But I've never met a stylist that wasn't a good retailer that wasn't super busy. And the reason for that is, if you want to be a good retailer, it requires going deeper with the client, because it goes back to that care thing. You're going to invest the time to educate them on what they need and how to use the products and all that stuff. And that takes energy, that takes time. So, you know, it's your choice, or your stylist's choice. Or, you know, are you going to be, you know, talking to them the whole time about the last movie you guys saw or about some political thing? Or are you going to take time to really talk about their hair and how they're going to care for their hair at home? And, you know, the thing about retention too and staying busy, clients they'll fool us. You think you have this great relationship with them and you have these beautiful, wonderful conversations about everything but hair. And then suddenly that client is gone and they've left you. Because you know what? They don't let us know. Right? When clients leave us, they don't like notify us or give us a warning. They say, you know, I'm getting bored, or I'm not happy with the last 2 haircuts. Like they don't tell us, they just vanish. So don't take them for granted. Just because you're having these wonderful conversations with them doesn't mean they're super thrilled with their hair. So you just can't spend enough time in that visit, in that precious hour or 2 that you have with them, really talking about their hair and their home care. I'm just telling you, and everybody who's listening knows I'm telling you the truth. Like, focus on why they're there. Spend less time chit-chatting about all sorts of everything else. You think that's building a relationship. It sort of is, but it's really not why they're there. And so invest in that, in the training. Have the conversation after you've earned it, meaning they know what products they should be using. They know how to use their tools. Their hair is healthy. They're not complaining about their frizz and how dry their hair is or how flaky their scalp is. Like you're their hair doctor. Do your job. Okay. So, but yeah, for me, what's always important, I hate getting on these things where somebody gives all this like information, but then you go right back and like doing your old same thing. So I hope everyone takes me up on the 10-day challenge, and anyone who wants like role play, hands-on, anything, I'm happy to get on a call with you individually. If you want help analyzing your retail potential of your salon, whatever I can do to help. I'm not here to sell any consulting services. So this is all free, pro bono. But yeah, if you want to double your retail business, if you're serious about it, I'll be happy to coach you, just because I love this industry. I know how important it is. I know how difficult being a salon owner is. I'm really here just to give back. So.
Hey, Boris.
Could you do a role play of your daily interaction with the stylist?
I was going to say, can you speak to your daily ticket with the stylist on the retail retention rebooking? How you go about it with each stylist on a daily basis? A couple of people are asking.
Yeah, what I would like, if I was starting this from scratch right now, I would maybe like in my next staff meeting, whether it's in person or on Zoom, or you can do this one-on-one, and I would just say, hey guys, want to talk to you real quick about retail. And I think, and I think all of you guys already know how important retail is to the success of our business. So I want to share with you how we're going to measure retail moving forward. And so we're going to start measuring retail on a units per client basis. And then I would say, and most of your stylists probably have heard some of this before, but let's say, I'm going to just pretend this is new information. So I'm going to say, we're going to look at units per client. So that just means how many products we're selling on a per client average. So for example, if we saw 10 clients today and we sold 10 products, that means we sold 1 unit of product per client. Everybody got that? Cool. So our goal as a salon is to average 1 unit per client. And so the way we're going to work towards that is I'm going to give you guys daily feedback, just so you know how you did, where you're at. And I'm going to give it to you in the form of a daily email, it's up to you. If you don't want to use technology, you can use paper, or you could email it, you can text it. But let's say I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm going to just on your daily total sheet from yesterday, I'm going to highlight how many units per client you sold. And also, because we want to be really busy, we're also going to start measuring rebooking. And I really believe in connecting rebooking and retail together, even though they may not seem related, but rebooking is it's really like, as we're here to talk about retail, but rebooking is your number one metric. Like, let's just be like super clear about that. Like, there's nothing more important in anyone's business than rebooking. So I always put rebooking first, because the other thing is, at the end of the day, if you want to be effective at communicating with your staff, you really need to make sure that they know that you are putting them first. And no stylist will ever argue with you about how important rebooking is. So I start there, because if I can help them rebook, they know that's for sure 100% in their interest, because they're not always clear on how beneficial retail is to them, but they do know how beneficial rebooking is. So I always include that in the conversation, because I want to be holistic about it. And then I talk about, hey, we're going to measure rebooking in the same way. We're going to say our goal as a salon is to rebook 75%, or 3 out of every 4 clients that are here. And we're going to track it daily. And I'm gonna say, hey guys, do you know why we're gonna track it daily? Because daily really works. And I say, like, how many of you have a Fitbit or an Apple Watch? How many of you guys are tracking steps? Do you do it daily or weekly? I mean, almost all your stylists are probably, everyone's tracking their steps these days, right? So everyone can relate to that. So I love making that connection. So I present the daily tracking contextually around things that people can really connect with. So that's how I would present it. It's say hey, we're gonna measure units per client, and we're gonna measure our rebooking percentage, and we're gonna do it daily, and I'm gonna send it to you in an email, or I'm gonna leave it on as a note on your station. And then the other thing I'd really like to see us work on is the magic move. And I would say, like, do you guys know what the magic move is? And I say, well, let me show you. And then if I'm doing this in the salon, I'll walk over and I'll say, okay, let's say I just recommended this shampoo. So I'm going to walk over, grab the shampoo and say, hey, Antoinette, this is the shampoo I was talking to you. You know, what's really cool about the magic move is literally if all you do is say, hey, Antoinette, this is the shampoo I was telling you about. Here it is. Just in case you want to get it, here it is. If you just do that, Antoinette's going to buy that. At least one out of every three will buy it. It's going to be more like it. It's going to, in reality, it'll be like at least 50% of the people you put a product out for will take it home. I mean, the odds are so stacked in your favor. Or in our favor. It's incredible. We just got to do our part. You know, it's that whole trusting in the process. How did that role play sound as far as how I explained it, as far as how I would present it? And then, and so I would start there. Just giving that daily feedback is really the beginning. And then if someone is way underperforming, I mean, you still need to do your one-on-ones, but you can do them once a week or once a month. It really doesn't matter what the cycle is, but that daily metric is what you're going to talk about in that one-on-one. You know, say, hey, Joe, you know, we're shooting for 1 per client, but you're down here at 0.2. Like, what, you know, how can we help? Or, also, it's something I would consider doing, and I can consult with everybody one-on-one if they're interested in like crafting some contests and reinforce the behavior. So I love creating contests that support the process even more than any sales results. So, like doing that idea of a raffle every time they put every time you put a product on the desk with your client, we're going to enter you to win, you know, every week we're going to give away $50, and all you have to do is, I don't care if nobody buys anything, as long as you're putting the product on the desk, that's all I care about. And you'll get a lot of participation, and you could really craft something that makes it really fun for everybody to participate around that. So those are the kind of things I would do. But like I said, the cool thing about this is that just the same way if someone gets religious about using their Fitbit, suddenly their steps go up. You know, how much they go up, you know, it varies, right? But they go up. And so anything you measure goes up. Anything you don't measure probably goes down. So it's really simple. If you don't step on the scale for 30 days, you probably are going to go up. If you step on the scale daily, you have a way better chance of at least staying even. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Can I hear it? Can I get an amen? Yeah.
Amen.
So people, you got to just track daily. I'm telling you. Yeah. But yeah, reinforce the behaviors you want with just fun contests, and you'll get that behavior change. But so what I was worried about when I first started doing it in my business, I was thinking, man, I hope these guys don't get like annoyed with my stupid daily note with these numbers, right? Because I was really scared that they would get irritated. And you know what happened? The exact opposite happened. Like, I would be in my office and people would come by saying, hey, Boris, did you see my results? And I'm like, yeah, I wrote them. But people would get excited because they actually got recognition. Like, I think the thing that we miss in our businesses is just how powerful recognition is. And if you're doing this daily tracking, whenever they do well, it gives you a chance to put a smiley face and a little star by it, or just pat them on the back. Like people love that. And that's why the performance starts to change, right? And so you're not doing this on purpose, but how many times has someone had a great retail day, right? Like somebody, I don't know if it was Laura, somebody today in the chat said they did 2 per client today, right? Do you know how often that happens in our businesses and nobody notices, right? It's really tragic, you know? So somebody does an amazing job, nobody notices, and it's a missed opportunity. So the daily tracking, the other piece of it is it helps you as the owner or manager to really start noticing. And especially like if you're a busy hairdresser behind the chair and you're the owner, like it's really hard and it's really easy to miss things, right? So then we end up only noticing the bad stuff. So the positive reinforcement is insanely powerful, and people crave it like you wouldn't believe. And that's another reason why the performance goes up. But it just doesn't work. It works so some semi, weekly, monthly. It's like I love that stepping on this. Like if I want to lose weight, if I'm on the scale every day, I'm really on it. Yeah. But so use that as an analogy. You know what I mean? Like that's why daily is so powerful. But you got, but that positive reinforcement, it creates such an opportunity for positive reinforcement in your business.
You're right. People are craving for that. They want to be noticed, recognized for good behavior.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And just like, and people like, they I don't want to say it, like, I don't want to over-index on this, but, we kind of want to know somebody's watching when we're screwing up too. And, there's a lot of studies that show that, kids that aren't disciplined don't feel loved. So, your kids, your staff, we don't want to treat them like children, but they do want to know you're paying attention if you really care. And another thing is, to be honest with you, most people, they do want to get better. Even the people who aren't retailing well, they just don't know how. They feel stuck. They feel intimidated. So this daily tracking thing really creates the beginning of that conversation of helping them to get better. But you can't get better, or same thing with rebooking. People want to know, like, how do I rebook? Like, because I could do a whole hour seminar on rebooking. But that, but a lot of the same principles apply. So it opens the door to coaching and mentoring. And that's the thing. If you bundle rebooking with your retail conversation, it's so powerful. And I highly recommend doing those two things together, because they really are intertwined. So anyhow, I know we're coming up on an hour, but I really want to thank you guys for having me. And I hope this was useful, helpful. And yes, Franco, I am available. I don't see the whole note, but I just see Boris, are you available, ... So please email me, and we'll make it happen. And so I see a phone number. Cool. I'm getting numbers. So any I'm bad at really
who has the notes, but question here?
Yeah.
Who has a question? And no question is too small to ask. Come on, guys, you're smart.
So people are talking about old retail on the shelves, how to get rid of it.
Okay.
Maybe before this started, you weren't doing these things we talked about, or maybe if you need to move that retail, maybe you need to look at what's been selling, what hasn't been selling. First thing, maybe carry less of one and just blow it out, or call your distributor and say, hey, I'd like more of this if you take back this. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. It's a good start. But the lessons Boris gave tonight, you should be able to start getting rid of everything on the shelves very quickly once you wipe it down.
Quick tip on getting rid of things quickly. Like, I personally have never liked discounting. So I built a huge retail business without discounting. But if you want to, I'd rather give something away for free than discounts. So I strongly discourage any like 20% off or buy one, get 50% off the second. I just don't think that stuff works, and it kind of sends the wrong message to your clients. So my advice is don't discount, but do give things away. So if you have a lot of excess inventory, I would do a buy two, get one free, and just say, hey, the free product has to be has to be the least expensive of the three things that they're getting. And that always works. And the nice part, so if you think about the math on this, if you buy two, get one free, the one they're getting free is being canceled out by the second product they're buying, and you're making full profit on the first. Does that make sense? So yeah, gifting is way more, never hesitate to gift. You can't gift enough. Like gifting is always good. Discounts bad, gifting good. End of seminar on that. But yeah, the buy two, get one free is awesome. You could also try partner with your manufacturers and say, hey, would you guys be willing to, if I place an order for X, would you give me Y for free so I could run a gift with purchase program? Gift with purchase is super powerful. It really works. Yeah.
I love it. I love bundling too.
Yeah, bundles are great. Yep.
Conditioning color service with a free product, and meanwhile the bundle costs more than all of them put together.
Yeah.
I mean, be smart about it, folks.
Yeah. So it's fun.
Boris, I think we have to just readdress, because some people may not have been here, if there's resistance from the team, because I think that's what we're dealing with. People who have a story about how they can't or do this, or it's a mindset. Again, you said some things about how an owner should treat that.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about selling, because maybe we need as my friend Neil Dukoff says, flush that idea out.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big believer in transparency and just being, really treating every stylist like they're your business partner. And they really are. If you think about how our businesses are structured, we succeed based on their success and hopefully vice versa. So I just like to be very honest with the staff and say, hey, this place really can't make it if we don't have a strong retail business. So from just a pure financial point of view, it's super important. But then I also go on to say, but you know what? The thing is that we also want to provide the best possible level of service. And I just really want us to care about how well the client can take care of their hair at home, whether it's the health of their hair and caring for their color or their other issues. But just, even if we just focus on the condition of the hair, that's already enough of a opportunity. And the cool thing is, on every salon team, there will be 2 or 3 people who already really understand and believe this, and they'll kind of pull everybody else along. So basically, you'll always have a couple of people say, "Yep, you're so right." And when you talk about home care, most people completely agree with that. I think so I think just being really honest for why it's so important, so that's really, at the end of the day, we just have to, we're all in this because it's our profession. It's the same reason, why, we have to charge for cuts and color, right? So there's a big financial component to this whole thing. And I've never had all stylists get it. I think where they get stuck is, can I really do it? Or they made a connection in their mind that they just don't like to do it. So the cool thing is there's ways to address that. And if you the good part is, if you start giving them daily feedback, I just found even the most resistant stylists don't want to see a 0 on their station every single day based on the previous, people start to dislike that more than whatever negative they associate with retailing. But the truth is, I found that I've never met a stylist who didn't get excited when a client did buy something. So because at the end of the day, the stylists do want their clients to have the product that they're recommending. They really do. So it's just, so if a stylist says, no, I hate retailing, all I hear is, I'm scared of it. I'm intimidated. I don't like the feeling of some sort of like pressure. I didn't get into this business to be a salesperson, all this stuff. So I have a lot of compassion and empathy for someone when they say that, and I'm just there to help them. And I also know that if I can just help them go from 0.25 to 0.5, I'm super happy. So I'm not trying to, so the person who's a 0.25 retailer, I'm not trying to make them a 1.0. I just want them to be a 0.5. The person who's at 0.5, they're the ones who are going to go to 1. So, but I think we start, we start with empathy and compassion, and then we try to give them the support to get better. But
Boris, we have a
That's
pretty
critical.
big thread going on in Facebook right now because we were on Facebook Live.
oh wow,
The thread said that why is it that stylists don't want to sell, yet when you go to, we'll say Nordstrom or something like that, in front of the makeup and the perfume, they're selling like crazy, right? And a couple people have said that's their job. Well, guess what? It's their job as a stylist too. I think it comes down to training. And if you, in my mind, if you find those shy ones that don't have that outgoing personality, where they could sell, ice on a hot day, right? You gotta teach them a system that takes their fear out of it, and that system is just placing the products in their hand, placing the products on the desk. That takes no selling whatsoever, and it will increase, as you said, it'll increase their average probably double, right?
yeah.
I mean, how hard is that guy? I don't want to blame it on the stylist. Everybody in Facebook is blaming it on the stylist. What I want to blame it on is the training and the owners. Do your job as an owner. Train them properly. Get them out of the mindset of selling. Get them into the mindset of a system and education. And if you can do that, even if they're afraid to educate the client, this is the greatest thing for curly hair, right? Which they should all know. The basics, what's for curly hair, what's for dry hair, all those things. Half of you don't even have shelf talkers that say that in front of a product that says, this is for curly hair. And a client walks over there and goes, what the hell is all this product confusion, right? Make it as simple as possible for your client and make it as simple as possible for your stylist, and you'll probably double your retail sales.
Yeah. I mean, you really have to, you got to provide the structure that helps people to succeed. Mm-hmm. And there's that the old adage in psychology or whatever, like if you want someone to change, how should you go about? Well, change yourself. So if you want to help people to grow, start changing how you work with them, how you support them, how you train, educate, how you structure things. So kind of going back to my daily tracking thing, the daily tracking is something that is it has zero dependence on your stylist. That's all on you as the owner. So if you start doing that, you're creating an opportunity for change from your staff. So, So to that thread on Facebook, Derek, it's really anything you don't like in your business is your fault. And as soon as you accept that, the sooner you'll succeed. It's the most amazing thing. And that is the golden rule. Yeah. And I know it may not always sound fair, but it's, business is not fair. Life isn't fair. It has nothing to do with fairness. It has to do with what really works in life. And so anything that goes wrong in my company, it's all my fault. And when you accept that, it makes everything actually so much easier. So if your people aren't retailing, it has very little to do with them, and it has to do with the kind of structure and culture that you've created in your business. I'm just being super honest, and I'm saying this for your benefit, Mr. or Mrs. Salon owner. But you can change it, and if you change yourself, you will get better results. don't worry about what your staff is doing. Focus on what you're implementing in terms of the systems. You at the end of the day, and that's what I love about what Derek's program does, is manage systems, not people. And if you build your business around systems, you'll be so much happier, because people will always disappoint us. And guess what? You will often be a disappointment to others too, by the way. So so we're all going to disappoint each other. So systems are our friends when it comes to creating real consistency and business happiness. So if you're not getting the results in any part of your business, it means there's a system that's missing. So if you're not retailing well, it's not because of your staff, it's because you haven't put a system in place yet. And that's why we're doing this chat, because what I'm really sharing with you is a system. Yeah. So and so if you implement a system, you'll get results, and if you don't have a system, you won't have results, and you'll just be super frustrated forever.
If to that end,
Yeah.
and I agree with you 1,000%. And one of my mentors, a very famous small business guy and author, said, we can't manage people. We can only manage systems. We can hardly manage ourselves, let alone what kind of hubris do we have to believe that we can manage people? Stop. Just manage your systems. You get a lot less tense around it.
Yep.
You can move them and let the systems do the work, and let people operate the systems, and you'll sell a lot of retail.
Yeah. You really will, and whatever else you're doing, you'll just everything will be better. And then once you have your systems, the truth is your business is a volunteer army. So no one has to be there. So if you are true to running your business based on the systems you believe in, then you're going to just attract the people who love those systems, and the people who don't will fall away. But that's okay. The other people will come into your life that will respect and appreciate what you're doing. And what's really cool is when you start doing some of the stuff I'm talking about, you'll be surprised at the support you'll actually get. Yeah, you'll be people. I don't know. Our expectations really dictate our results a lot of times. And I think, to be honest, like back to my story when I was talking about how I went to that seminar at Bumble and I came back and implemented everything. The only reason I was able to do that is I was just super naive. Like I didn't have the experience yet to be jaded. So I went there and like a naive child, I just believed everything. And I remember it didn't really register at the time, but I remember like, all the small talk with owners, like they would say like, oh, but you don't know my staff. This will never work in my salon. Like I heard that so many times, and I'm sure if I had some experience at that point, I probably would have been saying the same thing. So my other challenge to you is you try to flush your own negative expectations about your people, and really think positively, expect great things, love them, have a lot of compassion, but challenge yourself to implement really great systems. Anything, not to oversimplify, but anything that's broken is just a place where a system needs to be implemented. And I know if you're part of this group, I know you have unbelievable support in that area. And
Boris, I love this. I love what you just said, because I can probably call 10 owners tomorrow and they'll say, my stylists don't want to sell. But what is that saying to me? It's saying in their mind isn't even right yet. So they got to fix what's within them before they can fix what's within their stylist. And the only way that can happen is by believing and having a system.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in yourself as an owner, you're kind of passing the buck saying, my stylists don't want to sell.
Yeah.
It's just because you haven't found that right spot of interaction with them on how to have them sell.
Yeah.
And have that system in place. So guys, work on that. I think that's such an important lesson out of what you've given us tonight, Boris.
Oh, yeah, you're so welcome.
Another word maybe we want to use for a system. A system sounds so constrictive and hard, which, you know, it's a, what do you believe a system to be? It's a way. It's a way of doing something. It's a pathway to success. We want to design ways that we will succeed. So this is how we do it here. We do it here not out of chaos, but we want to get a result. It's very easy. We have to serve it up beautifully to people and I love what you say about compassion and empathy. People are really stuck and people do want to be great.
Yeah.
And they do want to succeed. I've never ever met someone who came to work and saying, I want to really screw up today. I don't want to give anything to any client today more than what she's booked for. People don't think that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one thing I didn't touch on is, which is also important, is back to retail, is you also want to make sure I call it creating a love affair between the stylist and the product. So just to make sure like success is kind of like baking a cake. You need all the ingredients. Like cooking, you can kind of you can kind of wing it, but baking is really precise. Mm-hmm. And if you leave out that teaspoon of vanilla and it's game over, right? So you got to get it right. And so you want to look at your products and make sure, are you carrying the products that your stylists really love? Is that what they're using at home on themselves? So check what you have on the shelf. Make sure it's the right mix for what your clients, probably what your stylists really want to recommend. I'm not going to name any brands here, plus or minus, but just really, I feel like a lot of people don't really pay attention to their product mix enough. So that's just a really important piece of the puzzle. Don't get fooled though, just because you get the products your stylists want. Retail isn't going to just magically happen. You still have to do all of these things. But like that cake recipe example, you just have to have all the pieces, because if the product on your shelf isn't what they're in love with, and if those companies aren't delivering value to those stylists, so they're obviously going to love a company more if there's education or something coming their way, or free product, or something that makes that stylist have an emotional connection with the product. That's actually pretty important. So think about it from that point of view as well. Work with your distributors to make sure that you've got the products that are right for your business, your clientele, your staff, and then make sure the distributor or those product companies are doing the things that make them really love that brand. Does that make sense?
So Laura said, what do stylists love? How would you approach that how would you find out?
Well, you can start really simply. You can just start by asking. You can, not to oversimplify, but I would do a survey, maybe an anonymous survey. Some of this is going to be common. So I definitely recommend not carrying too many brands, because I think 3 is kind of like the ideal number as a max, maybe 4, unless, but because it's just, you end up with a lot of overlap and inefficiency that way. It's too much product knowledge for any one person to really master. But I would create a simple survey. If you could even do an anonymous survey where no one has to put their name on it. You can do it via some kind of web form. Maybe I'm not going to give Derek and Andrew new work to do, but maybe there's something you guys can give people, like a simple retail survey that's anonymous that they could email to their staff to gauge the level of satisfaction they have with the products they have.
And also, I'm just thinking, listening to you.
Yeah.
Salon Interactive opens up a whole new world.
Yep.
To any salon, because you can the owners have to purchase the multiple brands, but if a stylist loves the brand or something, you can have a small representation, and then they can, sell that and also promote that.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Just another way of looking at it.
Well, and if you look at it this way, like if a stylist, like this is what I found in real life, like if a stylist is really crazy about her product, then putting that effort in to go and do the magic move is way easier, because they're like, oh my God, you got to have this XYZ thing. Let me get it for you. Let me show it to you. Like, you know, that you don't want to overlook that part is making sure you've got stuff that they're really stoked about on your shelves and at their stations. I think another thing I see owners not partnering with their distributor or manufacturer enough on is station product. Like, you gotta, eight lines. I mean, unless you're a beauty supply, that's definitely not the right mix for a salon.
Yeah, but you didn't.
Boris,
One thing I did it.
It's okay. Let me just get this out. One thing I wanted to talk about, in case anybody was wondering, I posted this week. We are now integrating in Salon Ninja Live Zooms, and one of the things that we are setting up a funnel on, we'll call it a sales funnel, whatever you want to call it, is a product recommendation live, right? So you'll be signing up, let's say hey, all my clients who have curly hair, right? And you're going to do a live Zoom on what products are for them on these live Zooms and take reservations right there and then. And then whether you're pushing them to Salon Interactive or you're reserving it in your salon, whatever you're doing, those products are ready to go. But one of the things that you can circumvent is your stylists that have a problem getting on and talking and not just doing the magic move, because that's brilliant also. But if you have that one rock star who knows this is our curly hair product line and I know it inside and out, I'm gonna send out a message to all the clients to get on a live Zoom like we've been doing during quarantine and say, guys, this is why it's great. This is how you use it, and boom, here's how you reserve it. I think it's the new way to go.
100%. Totally agree. Cindy or someone asked, is a full line necessary? No, you don't. I don't think that's necessary anymore. But I wanted to mention though, to what you were just saying, Derek. So there's a new magic move now, right? Which is send them a text or an email with a link to your recommendation in Salon Interactive. So what you could do as a system, so if you're a salon that has receptionists or salon coordinators, let's say you have a stylist, John, and let's say John is super busy, super slammed, but he's just not really consistent with his retail, and he's not doing the magic move. You could create a system for John where he gives, let's say the receptionist is Mary. So John gives Mary the product recommendations for all the clients that he saw that day, and Mary can email or text that client. And that's what I would probably, like, that's what I would, if you have a front desk team, I would train them to be the person who is sending out all these emails or text messages to every client with links to their product recommendations. That's
and we have that set up in our system, and it's tagged by curly hair, frizzy hair, whatever it is. We have it tagged, right?
So all you need is
I think a new opportunity that a lot of people are missing out on is exactly what we are doing tonight, but with clients.
Yeah.
Okay, and turning it into retail seminars. Okay, you're doing your own webinars, basically on retail. You have your clients' information. Get them on these private groups. Get them interacting with you. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you will, I guarantee you have at least one rock star in your salon. There's always that one or two that can sell all day long, right? Get them on these things and get them selling, even if you're reserving products and things like that.
Do a blow dry boot camp at home. I mean, you can you can do this stuff, you know.
But just remember, going back to, because I'm so obsessed with like actual results.
Mm-hmm.
Like, none of this stuff matters if you don't know your numbers, and if you're not measuring performance.
Now you're speaking Derek language.
Yes, I'm just saying, all this stuff is fluffy foo-foo. You'll be super motivated to do all the stuff Derek is saying if you're really looking at your numbers. And and then hopefully doing this unit per client thing I'm talking about, because that will really motivate you, because then it becomes like it becomes believable. It becomes like a game you think you can actually win. Yeah, because if you don't have a good system for, I always say like start with the basics, and you don't have to get too. So start with like this 10-day challenge I'm talking about, or something like it, and then build on that, and then figure out, okay, what are the things I can do to get my units per client to go up? Right now I'm at 0.3. How do I get to 0.5? And then how do I get to 0.7? And then eventually to 1. But really start by knowing your numbers. That's super important.
Yeah, and the excitement comes in when you see them moving up.
Yeah.
Do this 10-day challenge, and I'm going to post Boris's email. Everybody, do this 10-day challenge and bombard Boris's email with your results, so he can help you out.
I've got awesome gifts in mind. I'm ready to be Boris Claus. So yeah, and can we just remind everybody what the 10-day challenge is?
Go ahead, go for it.
Yeah. So your challenge for 10 days this is just for you. This is actually not tied to your staff yet or anything. So if you're a salon owner watching this, or a hairdresser, or both, you have to track your salon units per client and your personal units per client behind the chair for 10 business days. And then I want to see your result, and then email me the results, but day by day. So day 1, 2, 3, 4 on down. And then I'm going to reward you with something really cool. But the main reward is you're going to see by how much better you did during those 10. We're going to compare your 10-day total. This is just you behind the chair and your business, how much better your numbers are just from tracking. It's gonna shock you.
So if you had a sheet with a column,
yep,
a tracking sheet, what would the columns be?
So you have numbers 1 through 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then column 1 is your, let's just make it really simple.
Simple. Yeah.
So really simple. Column 1 is just call it my personal. Column 2 is my salon.
Okay.
And then my personal is how many clients you saw that day.
Mm-hmm.
And then to the right of it, how many units of product you sold. Mm-hmm. For all 10 days. Mm-hmm. And then to the right of that, if you're uncomfortable telling me how many clients you have, I'm not trying, like if that's confidential, you don't have to show that. But if you want, show how many clients walk through your doors and how many products your salon sold for the day, or just calculate the units per client for the salon. Then I don't have to know your individual data.
And
beautiful.
So are you included in the salon?
Andrew, you know what else I would like to see on there? I'd like to see, did you do it through the magic move?
Let's keep it simple.
That is simple.
Let's keep it simple.
Well, we'll start with this. Yeah, we'll go on to the magic move in part 2.
Beautiful.
But hopefully the magic move will be part of it, because you'll get way. I mean, you
could do the magic move.
Yeah, you'll need to do you'll need to do it. You will be doing it anyway. Yeah, but does that make sense?
Brilliant.
Yeah. And last question, should I include in my salon totals my own production?
Yeah, you could read. Yeah.
Okay, so simple.
Entire business, and it's you standalone.
Okay, great.
Yep. Because remember, you have to. Why do I want to see yours personally? Because I want you to see the power of it on your own self. Mm-hmm. And you yourself have to become a 1.0 stylist, first and foremost. Because when your staff will do about 50% of whatever you do. They'll do half of the good stuff and twice of the bad stuff. So you wanna lead by example. So that's part of this. And then once you're doing it, then it's easier to coach others. as well. But I just want you to experience the power of tracking, even if it's just for your own self behind the chair. And then on the salon side, it gets you into the habit of tracking your salon's daily numbers, and even just just writing them down will already be amazing. And then we'll do a second challenge with whoever does this one for 10 days of actually giving your staff these daily numbers and then seeing what happens. But let's start with just the individual owners themselves doing it on themselves, if that makes any sense.
And when we're done with this, Boris, I'd love to have you back on and post up some of those results.
Yeah, maybe if there's room for me on the schedule in about 2 weeks or so. Maybe in 2 or 3 weeks.
You got it.
Yeah, and maybe we could even invite a couple of the people who actually started doing this and see what they have to say.
Beautiful.
Cool.
And unicorn stylists are allowed in this.
Unicorns, yes. We love unicorns, yes.
We love unicorns. Go for it.
Yes, all the way. And I guess everyone has my email, right?
Yeah, I posted about 20 times. So
okay, cool.
So does anybody have?
What's your email?
Awesome.
Anybody have any last minute questions before we wrap it up tonight? Post them up now. Thanks, Franco, for reposting. Anybody on Facebook? Any last minute questions?
Looks like I saw some questions, but nope, thank you, good night.
I think most people are just thankful at this point, and I think we pretty much wrapped them up.
Thank you, Boris. It was great.
Thank you, guys. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to come on. I just...
we appreciate you.
I'm sorry?
I said, we appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Wait. Kelly asked, so say I sell 5 products out of 5 people, but only 3 people bought products out of the 5. 2 people bought 2, 1 person. Does that count as 3, 5 or 5, 5 sold?
It counts as 5, 5. So it's 5. Not, yeah, just to clarify, it's number of units, because not everyone's going to buy something, right? So you have, like, let's say client 1 bought 0, client 2 bought 0, but client 3 buys 3 things. So that's 3 units, 3 clients, you're at 1.0. So it's 5, 5. Glad you asked. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Franco's asking for commission structure. You can touch on that, but that's like a whole conversation.
Franco, we only take 25%.
Franco, email me. We can chat. It depends on your business model and your salon, but or we can cover it in the next time I'm on.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you
for showing up tonight, Boris. Thank you so much. That was one of the better webinars I've been on.
I love it. Thank you. That means a lot.
You rocked it, my friend.
Thank you. I love being on. I so appreciate you guys. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for everyone who was a part of this tonight. And it was a real privilege to be on with you. So thank you.
Thank you
so much. We appreciate everybody that showed up tonight.
We'll see you Wednesday night, everyone.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
BBR 52 Wednesday night. Wednesday we have Iva and Jay. I mean, Nikki and Jay?
Nikki
or Iva and Jay. I'm not sure. Nikki and Jay on Wednesday night. So it should be pretty exciting. And again, track your results so we can have another one with Boris in about 2 weeks. That'll be great fun. And thanks all of you for showing up tonight for our BBR lesson. Have a great evening, everybody, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.